Hey everybody, I was just reviewing this video and I'm going to put this on the front end of it. Here's a couple of caveats. First off, there were several times that I said police buyback guns. I don't mean police guns or guns that were bought in government buybacks. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. The police or the government trying to offer people pennies on the dollar for their guns. What I'm talking about are police trade-ins, right? And what was going through my mind was the reason I called them buybacks is because typically when police departments trade them in, the officers that had those guns are given the option to buy them back. Those that don't, the distributor that they traded them to sells them to the civilian population. So when I say police buyback, don't confuse that with the buybacks that are just ridiculous. What I mean, or what I misspoke several times, what I should have said was police trade-in. The other thing I wanted to throw out there was you'll see the El Presidente drill. So one of the things that I want to promote is every time you go to the range, do something that makes you better. It's been years since I've run the El Presidente, and I forgot to mention this during the video. Been years since I've run this drill. But every time you go to the range, don't just stand there and poke holes in paper. Do something meaningful, right? Do something that's going to make you better. So I hope you enjoy the video. $11:29. Hey, how's it going? The sun's low in the sky and it's right in my eyes while I'm talking to you, but I'm practicing for a drill and practicing for the El Presidente. And the reason I'm practicing is because I wanted to ask you a question. How many times have you been in a gun shop and looked at a gun and went, oh, for the love of God, what happened to that thing? It looks like it's been drugged behind a truck and used for a fence stretcher. Most of these guns, and what we're talking about is police buybacks. So this is a Model 96 Beretta that I bought as a police buyback way back when everybody was switching from 40s to 9s. An agency had these. Decided to switch to Glock 9mm, traded these in, and I got my hands on this gun for, I think, $220. It was less than $250, but it's a police buyback. And as a policeman, here's what I'm going to tell you about police buyback guns. Most of them look pretty rough. You can see this one, at least I hope you can see. I mean, the finish is beat to a pulp. The finish is gone on most of the sides. The grip panels are beat up. The magazine well is beat up. But the thing you need to remember about these guns is typically most cop guns have been carried like 1,000,000 miles and fired maybe 1,000 times, which is probably more than the average person shoots a gun in their entire life. They're not worn out by any stretch. The finish is beat up, but the guns themselves are typically functionally fine. And you can normally buy these things for like pennies on the dollar. So earlier today, just to prove a point, I was looking around, and my agency last year, we bought some new Remington 870 police magnums. We added some staff and needed some more shotguns. And we paid like almost $700 a piece for those things on government contract. There are police trade-ins out there that the average person can buy for like $350. So, I mean, you're literally buying police trade-in guns for pennies on the dollar compared to what they are new. And even though they look beat up, there's nothing wrong with 99.9% of these guns. There's nothing wrong with these guns any more than there are wrong with new guns off the shelf with factory defects. So if you're looking for a particular gun and you know it's a popular police service gun, the Beretta, for instance. I owned a 92, and I decided at some point I wanted the 96 and 40 caliber. I ran across this as a police buyback. I mean, look at the top of the barrel. And most of that is from riding in a holster. Now, the top of the barrel, that's where probably from maybe some rounds on this gun. But typically, I mean, most cop shops are running a couple hundred rounds a year through a gun. And they're probably trading every 10 years. So do the math, man. This gun may have 4,000 or 5,000 rounds on it. The problem with this gun is it probably wasn't very well taken care of. It was carried a lot, cleaned a little. Dust and grime gets in police holsters and wears the finishes up. The cops get in and out of cars. They hit the grip panels and beat them up. So the majority of this gun's abuse did not come from shooting. This gun is far from worn out. I don't know when it was manufactured. I'm going to take a stab at it and say probably sometime in the 90s. But one of my favorite guns, the Beretta 90 series, 92 and 96 are some of my favorite guns to go shoot. And I wanted to talk about police buybacks because in today's day and age, everybody's on a budget, right? So not a lot of people can afford to go pay the $900 that it takes to buy one of these new. If you can find a police trade-in for even $300 or $400, man, you are money ahead. Even if the finish is beat up. Now, it depends on what you're going to use it for. It's not a museum piece. It's you need to take it out and shoot it or carry it or whatever it is you're going to do with it. But don't overlook police buyback guns. Like I said, for the most part, most of these guns, most of their abuse is seen riding in a holster, and when they're in the holster, they get hit, they get drugged, things get beat across them. Cops roll around on the ground with people and stuff gets scuffed up. As a matter of fact, it makes me think years ago when I first started out, I carried a Smith & Wesson Model 686, and I put a really expensive set of Harriet grips on it. And it didn't take me 2 weeks to be rolling around in the parking lot with a dude with a warrant. The next thing you know, my grips are tore up. There's a big chunk tore out of the bottom of them because they're hardwood. It cracked the bottom corner off of them. And at that time, those grips were worth almost as much as the gun. So don't look at finish and dings and dents as necessarily abuse, right? Most of these guns are in tip-top shape. A lot of these guns, if they came from an agency with an armorer, they've been looked at by an armorer. They got yearly inspections by somebody who was trained to do them, which is probably more than can be said for most of the guns in people's safes across America right now. If a part broke, it got replaced, just like cars. No reason at all to overlook a police buyback gun simply because it's got a rough finish. So, that being said, talk a little bit. I'm going to try to run the El Presidente. I don't know if I'll be able to do it with this particular gun, and I'll tell you why. The El Presidente was designed with the 1911 in mind. So it's 2 rounds on one target, 2 rounds on the next target, 2 rounds on the next target. Drop the mag, put a fresh mag in, and then 2, 2, and 2 again. And the reason for that was the 1911 at that time was 7 rounds. So you fire 6, left you 1 in the chamber, fresh mag change, and hit each target 2 more times. And the standard was kind of 10 seconds. Now, this drill was designed to be run with like an IPSC size target maybe, or some sort of target bigger than this, at 10 yards. These are TQ22 targets, which are half size of standard NRA silhouettes. So I'm going to run it at about 6 or 7 yards. The kind of the benchmark for this drill is 10 seconds, 12 rounds in 10 seconds. You start facing away from the targets in the surrender position. So you're going to surrender. You turn, draw, 2, 2, 2, mag change, 2, 2, 2. hopefully in 10 seconds. I was just messing around with that steel plate over there. Now it's considerably smaller. It's only a 10-inch plate. And right now we're about 10 yards away, and I was at about 12 seconds. So keep in mind, my first shot from this gun will be double action, so that'll take a little bit more time. Again, this drill was designed with the 1911 gun in mind, which is a single action gun. You know, this, believe it or not, the difference between drawing in single action and getting a shot off versus drawing in double action and getting a shot off, there is a little bit of a difference. Now, I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you, this was designed with the 1911 gun in mind. So we'll see how this shakes out. I'll try to get it done in 10. Again, I'll be a little closer than 10 yards, but these targets are only half the size. So we're looking for 12 hits in 10 seconds from surrender, turn, draw, 6, mag change, 6. So I'm going to go ahead and load my magazines here. I'll load the first one with 7 and the second one with 5. That way everything squares up with the round count. That may be a little dry. It seems slow, which that may be part of the problem too. And I'm not using competition gear. I'm using duty gear, so we'll see how this shakes out. All right, let's see if we can get the shot timer fired up here. We'll step in a couple of steps, get somewhere around 6 or 7 yards. We'll see how it shakes out, but, and see if I can pull this off. By the way, just to let you know, it doesn't matter what order you shoot the targets in, just 222, magazine change 222. So I don't know what order I'll shoot them in, whatever's the most convenient probably. Oh! 10.25. I am 1/4 of a second over the standard for the El Presidente with this worn out piece of junk police trade-in gun that is double action. It's not a 1911 gun, which this was designed for. But let's go down and look at targets. Pretty happy with myself right now. There's target 1, 4 rounds. Man, I'm sorry, the shade is messing with you guys. Something horrible, isn't it? So there's target 1, 4 rounds. Target 2, 4 rounds. Target 3, 4 rounds. 10.25. I think if I oiled that gun up, it would probably run a little faster, because I noticed on one of my strings on the metal plate that it seemed like that gun was just really draggy. And now keep in mind, this has been sitting in my safe for I don't know how long, since the last time it was shot. So we can take a look at it real quick. I don't have any oil out here. Oh yeah, it's gritty. I can feel the rails. It's gritty. If I had a couple of drops of oil to put on this, we might be able to run it a little quicker. But point being, do not overlook a gun that's a police trade-in simply because the finish is beat up. I mean, this gun functions flawlessly. I've put hundreds of rounds through this gun, if not thousands. And like I said, the Beretta 92 and 96 guns are my favorite guns just to go shoot. So if you find, get online, cruise around if you're looking for a particular gun, especially if it's a Glock, a Smith & Wesson. SIG is a big trade-in these days from the 226 and 229. I saw a 226 today that was a trade-in for like 400, or no, it was actually less than 375. I think it was 369 for a model 226. Now, it's probably looked pretty beat up, but functionally, probably a fine gun. Don't discount police trade-in guns simply because the finish is beat up. Man, I hope you found this helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And from beautiful Audrain County, Missouri, Sheriff Matt Aller, have a great day.